So this is my debrief of my first anonymous game, which is a 1444 ranked, so basically top 100 players in an anonymous format. It's about to end, so as I like to do, I'll do these recordings before the fog of war comes off, so you can only see what I was seeing during the game. So at the start, it looks like it's a fairly factory-heavy game, and I do my negotiations with various people. I negotiate with yellow that I'd take box lighter, which I thought was actually quite nice of yellow because I figured that they could probably try and fight me for it, which is why I'm sending 39 there just to be safe. I have a long discussion with teal about the practicalities of 24-hour notice truces, which teal wanted to implement. I really don't see the point of them because, you know, if you want to move on somebody, you should just do it. My point to teal was, well, if you can probably see an attack coming well before it reaches you, so we should just declare all the troop movements that we can see, so that we can at least explain each other. That way, if there's a clearly hostile troop movement, then clearly all bets are off. And this was actually the start of a very productive relationship. We did explain what all our troop movements were going to be, and we never actually attacked each other. Meanwhile, I arranged with Beige that I'd take Hake and Beige could take Wallace, and my medium-term goal was always going to be this lovely little spot of 4 factories around between Salt Mine and Smithround. Now Smithround red is closest to, so there's likely to be a multi-way fight for that. But I figured that if I can control those 4 factories, that would be really useful for prosecuting campaigns later. And I've also suggested to Purple and Beige that there's a sort of a standoff between Chongus Poseidon and Kybers, and I've suggested to Pink that he can have Benthic. Pink appears to have a really poor draw and not very many expansion factories. What I do have is a smuggler, so the goal is to pick up as many troops as possible, put them in a central location, and use that to basically defend any of my weakly defended outposts should somebody be foolish enough to attack. So what's happened up here is that I tried to do a deal with Pink to basically give him one of my factories, because I somehow ended up with 8 factories, which made me the most dominant player, which is not really something that you necessarily want to be. So I suggested that we could make it look like we're fighting each other. I would launch a stupid attack on Enki, which would never work, and he could send some troops to Kybers, and he would get another factory that would work for me, because he would then get in between me and Purple, and then Pink and I would also be friends, so that would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. However, I think something got confused. Either that, or Pink and Purple were also trying to stab me, which was another perfectly reasonable possibility. He sends 100 with no smuggler to Kybers, and Purple is sending a similar amount of troops south. So Purple claims that he's just trying to work with me against Pink. I'm like, why are all these stacks moving in my direction? Nevertheless, I fulfill my original agreement to let Pink into Kybers, and I try and debulk enough of this purple force to allow Pink to hold Kybers. However, with the arrival of this sub from Beige, that Pink is never going to be able to hold that anymore. So it's kind of all Beige's fault that this has gone pear-shaped. So Purple then accuses me of selling him out, because as you can see there, I've gifted my attack on Enki to allow pink to hold it. And pink decides to use his forces to attack, to steal one of my generators, and generators are kind of valuable, and purple has done the same. So instead of these two forces cancelling each other out, I'm now facing both of them, and there's also an infiltrator that I could just see before I lost all my radar. Oh no, it's about to come. There it is. There's an infiltrator coming down. So this is like total attack by purple and pink in my northern front. So this is highly uncool. Meanwhile, on the other border, cool things have been happening. I've moved into Hake and Boxlighter, and I can see there's basically a three-way fight happening to Smithrand. Somehow beige got there first. I've no idea how, but red is arriving in numbers, and then following that, yellow is arriving in even more numbers, and I'm just sending in small subs to basically affect the progression of these conquests and to make sure that I will end up with it at some point. So I've actually reinforced red there to make sure that that orange doesn't have too many troops on it, so that I can take it over for a short period of time. I ask orange how pissed is he actually going to be if I want to contest it properly. He indicates that it's kind of useful for him, considering he's otherwise engaged in a fight with red. So all things considered, I say, well, if I'm going to incur wrath of orange, I might as well do it properly. So I throw a lot of the drillers that have been building up in the south at Isaacson, which is a valuable and not very well defended generator, and I send the flying squad to Smithsrone. Now this is an amazing combination of a queen, a smuggler, and an inspector, because early game you will not see enormous stacks of drillers floating around that much, and this thing will totally deal with anything in the order of 40 to 50 drillers. So as you can see, yellow's, this just beats yellow's sub in there. 40 regenerating shields gets rid of that, and red had also tried to assist because he didn't realise that that thing was on its way at high speed. So I've ended up now with 2 gifts because yellow realised that wasn't going to do anything, and we'd come to a peace agreement with much of horse trading, which involved some gifting followed by evacuation of Isaacson, and in exchange for that I would give yellow solo because I had too many factories, not enough generators, and that thing actually went off more or less without a hitch. So that shows that there's a productive relationship with orange, and also quite a productive